Hello everyone. So I was on Chemist Corner and basically trying to see how am I going to basically make sure that the skin lightening serums and creams that I'm going to be making are pH balanced, and yeah, just looking into all of that I'm going to have over on Patreon. But I found something pretty interesting, and it was like a guide for all of these lightening ingredients based on ethnicity, and I never thought about it like this. And so it might seem just kind of like, well, duh, but I thought I would share it anyways because I thought it was interesting because I never thought about it like this. So if you are of a Western African skin type, then everyone's recommending, well, not everyone's recommending, but it's recommended to use hydroquinone or kojic acid. You could use either of the kojic acid, so just kojic acid or the kojic, it's like a dipolymate, I don't know, I can't say it. But yeah, so the kojic and then the D at the end, whatever it is, that one is just a more stable version of kojic acid. So really when you're making your own stuff, one is going to be more, I guess, light sensitive and heat sensitive. The other one will just be more stable, but I mean they'll both work, but those are just like the only differences. So yeah, I would think that arbutin should also be in there, but arbutin mixed with something else, so like maybe just not on its own. But that's I don't know, I'm basically just making a theory. I don't really know yet until I get in there and start working with these. Next is if you're from the Indian subcontinent or Asian Pacific area, basically alpha arbutin will work best for you. And so that's just alpha arbutin by itself. I have been looking at a lot of recipes that have arbutin in it, but it's not just arbutin. They're definitely mixing it with kojic. So if you are of a deeper skin tone, then the kojic acid or the kojic dipolymate and arbutin I think will be a good mixture. And then they have, obviously, like if someone has like almost like close to like a very like a European type skin, I guess you could say Caucasian skin, things like vitamin C would help you. What else? So let's say you're starting off with like a 5 or a 6, then obviously you just using a vitamin C, you wouldn't just want to use a vitamin C. But if you're using something and you're lightening down, so let's say you're using a kojic acid or you're using an arbutin or a mequinol or whatever you're using, and then you get down to like a Fitzpatrick, let's say 4 or 3, then obviously you're gonna have to scale back. Because let's say if I hit the color of my face for my body, obviously I'm going to stop using the things that I'm using, like me using the mequinol and the retinol blend. Like that's going to be too much. In fact, I'd probably take too much pigment out, and I like a little bit of color. It really wouldn't be a good look for me. And so it's just like, as you're lightening and as you're making progress, you're going to have to change it up. And so I guess wherever you're starting at, now you know which ones are going to be the strongest for you, or the ones that you should be looking at. But as you start getting to your desired level of lightening, then you need to definitely like switch gears. And then another thing is you have to be careful too of uneven lightening. I'm finding lots of things about people using these stronger lighteners, and basically they're using such high percentages that it's now causing them to have patches on their skin, like not the type of patches where you can tell it's just the cell turnover, so the old skin coming off, the new skin shining through, but like I'm talking about like legit, like very noticeable just patches of uneven lightening. And so if that's happening, then obviously, well, the biggest recommendation would just be like, don't use such a high percentage of, let's say, kojic acid. In fact, the more research I do into it, it's like, don't, like, just use like maybe 2 to 3%. You could even use 1%. A lot of the studies I'm seeing, people still saw results using as little as 1%. Now mind you, it wasn't just kojic acid that they were using in these serums and in these creams. It was definitely mixed with other things, but it's not the more the better in this case. I'm seeing the same with arbutin, which I'll be adding on for some of my skin lightening topicals that I'm going to be making. It's like you really don't have to go past, I think it was like either it was 10% or 8%, like just leaving it pretty low. Like people think, oh, it's going to speed things up, and it's just like, it's going to probably cause you more problems. And then even after a certain point, it's like it doesn't even speed up your lightening. Obviously this is all stuff that I have to test out myself, but I thought I would share this with you guys. Yeah, if you're just wondering what would be the best lightener for your ethnic background, then there you go. Of course, everyone can use everything. I mean, I'm going to continue using a mixture of everything. I just want, I don't want to say I want the quickest results because I don't want uneven lightening, but for after the tan that I got from last weekend, I would, you know, definitely like to remove that as quickly as possible. If you guys are interested for more things on like lightening your face, while like I don't have any before or afters of just me lightening it, because I mean on Patreon I have some befores of my face, and then of course my face currently right now on there, and I talk about the products that I was using that got my face to be this color, but it wasn't lightening, it was more of the products I was using bleached my face, meaning that even when I go out into the sun and I'm tanning, and even though I'm not using any lighteners on my face right now, it's like that color won't come back. And so it's pretty interesting, and I go into all of that on Patreon, so if you want to join the party over there. But it's just interesting the difference. So it's like you can use certain products that will basically strip the pigment, but like it won't come back. Now, is this going to be true for glutathione? Right now I'm on a glutathione pause just for like the next 2 weeks, then I'm getting back on it, just to see how my Mequinol topical works. But anyways, is this true for glutathione? Like, I'm not sure, because glutathione is working internally, and what I was using was working topically, though you know that most of the stuff that you put on your body topically, like it can get into your bloodstream, so that's why they're like, be careful not to be using things that have, you know, bad chemicals in them, because you can make yourself sick. So with glutathione, you know, there is talk that if you're using it for multiple years, so not just 1 year, we're probably going at least 2 years consistently to 3 years of consistent use, that yes, the pigment won't come back. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm leaning towards that this is true. But just to be completely honest with you, we don't have enough information on long-term glutathione use, especially for people like us who are using it for skin lightening and who are mega dosing it. So in a way, this is kind of new, but for me, I believe it. Like, I'm just leaning towards that, yeah, after using it every day consistently for a couple of years, that yeah, whatever results you get are going to be more permanent, like even after you stop taking it or stop using it, just because I've noticed the same thing has happened for my skin on my face. Even when I stop taking things and stop putting things on my face, even when I get sun exposure, it's like it doesn't really change. So anywho, if you guys have any questions, just let me know, and of course I'll have links to Patreon and everything down below. But I just thought this was very, very interesting. For the Fitzpatrick skin type, I guess I could throw it up on the screen right here, but it just shows you, you know, your tanning ability and then your typical features, and then you can basically gauge where you are. Right now for my body, I feel like I'm going in between the Fitzpatrick 4 and the 5 for certain areas of my body. Yeah, and then, but my face on the other hand, my face is just different. I don't know, I feel like my face might be like a 3. You guys let me know.